Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I coach people and organizations to play their professional and personal games bigger. And someone posed this question to me recently. Excuse me, I'm just going to adjust the screen. Thank you. Someone asked this question to me recently, and I had to pause for a second because the question seemed so remarkably easy and seemed to have such easy answers to it, but it really isn't quite that easy. So, for example, each organization has a different way they construct their recruiting budget. So some are spending what they think is an enormous amount of money with recruiting firms, whether it's executive search firms or the typical contingency recruiting firm. You could, of course, wipe out the entire budget there. But here's the problem with that. You can say, we're going to find these people in a row. We're going to take out a LinkedIn recruiter package and we're going to just find droves of people there. It's not quite that easy. You kiss a lot of frogs along the way to find the princess or prince that you want to hire. With no obligation, contingency recruiters do a lot of that for you. So you can do that. What's easier there, instead of wiping out the entire recruiting budget, you stare at the number, notice the percentage that you pay, and reduce that. So instead of a 25 or 30% fee, reduce it by 2.5%. It's not that noticeable to the recruiting firm. They're less likely to kiss you off. They're more likely to continue on. But instead of a 25% fee, you're paying 22.5%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but let's pause for a second and see what the difference is. Excuse my math, I haven't worked this out in advance. On a $100,000 fee, $25,000, $22,500. Doesn't sound like a lot. Multiply it by 50 people. Suddenly you're getting serious numbers. And if you're hiring a lot of people, that's a lot of your budget that you can wind up saving. Here's another thing. Part of your spend is going into wasted time by hiring managers who are interviewing too many people because they're unclear about what they're looking for. And more importantly, not only are they unclear about what they're looking for, but how to quantify it. And they're not passing on what they want in the way of an evaluation to the people on their team who are involved with the assessment. So you bring in a junior person to evaluate someone for their, accounting knowledge or their programming experience. And this person plays what I call game show interviews. You put them in an isolation chamber, you ask them a bunch of questions, you've got a clock on them mentally, say, okay, how long is it going to take for you to come up with the right answer to this question, different than the last 15 people that I've interviewed? Well, why are you putting them through that? I did an article for LinkedIn saying what's actually better to do is you do some, you pass on, basic criteria for evaluation. This is how I want you to evaluate them. These are the answers I want you to pose. This is what I'm looking for from someone. If you ask them about, do you like them? What does that ask? Well, I think that means that they're qualified. You think they'd fit in. Why don't you be specific? Just say, do you think they're qualified to do this job? Do you think they'll fit in? Why don't you think they're qualified? Why don't you think they'll fit in? After you've told people what to evaluate for, ask them to explain why it is that they don't think someone would fit or why they would fit. Saying too light doesn't say enough. Also, pass this knowledge down to both the recruiting team internally and the external recruiting team. Let the external people do more screening, then you use the internal people to measure a little bit differently. And then the one more thing you ask them, the candidate, to do is come to your office, bring whatever tool they like, or give them a computer and access to the web, and say, solve this unsolvable problem. We'll give you 15 minutes. And you don't necessarily say unsolvable problem. You say, we want you to take 15 minutes to solve this problem. Make sure it's a doozy. We're not talking about a stupid brain teaser. We're talking about a difficult problem you want them to solve that can't really be solved in 15 minutes. But then you want to find out how they went about doing it. The people who reach out to others are preferable to the ones who do it themselves. The ones that you give this test to have gotten through the first rounds. The ones who you're more interested in are the ones that reach out to others. The ones who know that they don't know everything and have resources at their disposal that they can find out more from. So if you find that this accountant is part of a LinkedIn network of X number of people or has friends in other organizations that he or she was able to call, this is great because you have access to additional resources for someone to do the job. You start looking at outsourcing different functions. This is another thing that you might consider doing. You consider outsourcing different functions as part of your spend and see what people can come up with in an effort to try and solve some of these problems. There's a lot of different things that people can do as part of the evaluation process when you're trying to figure out the cost reductions. Can you communicate more clearly to yourself and to others what you're looking for in someone is probably the biggest cost saving that you'll find, because as managers start to get busier, they speak in code to their staff and they expect the staff to understand them. And thus you turn off a lot of individuals who normally would be qualified, but because the manager was too busy to explain what it was that they were looking for, it wound up being a waste of time for everyone. I'm Jeff Altman. I hope you found this helpful. My website is thebiggamehunter.us. There's a lot more there that you can watch, listen to, or read to help you hire staff, or if you're looking for work, to help you find your next job more quickly. And if we are connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. Lastly, if you're trying to hire someone, I'd love to help you. Reach out to me. My phone number is 646-374-8656, or email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. I do work throughout the United States. Don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day.